Welcome to the Own It Powercast, the place to be when you get serious about making big changes and accelerating growth in your life and in your relationships. Finally create the life you've always wanted, living life on your own terms. Learn how to take your fear and turn it into powerful choices that will create sustained change. Now your host, Mary Baker.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Own It Powercast, a place where you can come to get what you need to move yourself forward. Hey, it's Mary Baker, and welcome to episode 44, Follow Your Heart, Setting Intentions. So this month, it's been all about our inner knowing and our internal guidance system. It's been about getting quiet and getting clear with ourselves, regardless of what we believe in. Like I've said before, listening to my clients talk about their inner knowing and inner trust, I think is a huge part of empowerment. And when they don't follow it, not good. So in that same vein, we're going to continue the discussion about using your inner GPS and about learning to trust it. So part of that is about setting intentions or the power of intention. I'm sure most of you have heard of that by now. The dictionary defines intention as a determination to act in a certain way, to resolve, to import, and it's about significance. I like this part. It's about what one intends to do or bring about. I think a big part of taking personal responsibility for our lives is owning our intentions. You've heard me say that before. Own your agenda. What are you really trying to do? What do you want to accomplish? And so today I want to focus on more of the positive aspect of that, really owning what you would like to intend. Now, this is not about controlling the outcome. Remember, there's a huge difference between having the intention of having a great day and having control over what really plays out in that day, right? There's a big difference. So I just want to clear that up in the beginning. I'm not talking about controlling the variables. I'm talking about, what does your heart say? What do you want to focus on? What do you want to move towards? We've been talking about beliefs, we've been talking about values, and we've been talking about goals and bringing balance into our life. This is a part of that conversation. So setting intentions can be a bunch of different things, right? It could be, I want to be happier. I want to be financially secure. I want to be more compassionate. I want to be more playful. I want to work harder. I want to be healthier. I want to love others better. I want to love myself better. So those can be conceptual intentions, the overarching idea. And then we can have smaller intentions. I just want to be peaceful for the next hour. Maybe I just want to stay in the moment. Maybe I'm not looking ahead. So think about, as you listen today, what does that look like for you? And these are about your intentions, by the way. And if you have doubt creep up or some anxiety as you're listening, that's pretty normal. It's like, what do other people think I should intend? But when that comes up, just quietly push it away with a smile and say, nope. I'm going to decide today what intentions I want to have. And the biggest thing, and the most important part, I think, of intention setting is your why. Why does this matter so much to you? Think about that for a moment. Get your why together. And if you have to sit there and think about it for 3 days, that's okay. Take your time. It'll come. It always shows up. I think also this is a great time to parse out whether your intention might be fear-based without you realizing it. Because we want to be careful to make sure it's not. So if I want to do something because I'm afraid of what other people would say or think or feel about me, I want to go back and really take a look at that. Maybe talk to a friend about that and see what that's really about for you. Because you want your intentions to, again, be something pure from your heart. Things that feel peaceful and good to imagine doing, being, or having. They should connect with what we believe, what we value, We talked about beliefs and values already. Also, reprioritizing, right? We've talked about that before. Like, what matters right now? What matters right now? Like right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Certain things are prioritized over others depending on where you are and what your situation is. You might just be in survival mode, so food and shelter and paying your bills might be all that is on your radar, and that makes sense. For others, it could be doing good and helping others because you have enough and you feel really blessed. For others, it's about being on the front lines and helping, and again, thank you for what you do. So get your why together, give that some thought, take your time. Again, we're not going anywhere for a while, right? We might have time to do this. So I have a few suggestions about how you can do this, but I also want you to trust whatever feels right for you. It could be one of these things we talk about today. It could be all of them or none of them, and that's okay. This is just about practicing some things, taking on some exercises, trying some things out, experimenting, and seeing how it goes. So the first one is one that I call flip the coin. I've mentioned it before in the past when we talked about needs, and basically on one side of the coin is the thing that is upsetting you, the thing that frustrates you, the negative thing that you don't like and you don't want to have present in your life anymore, or you don't want it to be happening, or you don't want it to be true. So the other side of the coin is the positive opposite of that. Now, again, you have to take some thought and figure that out. What is the opposite? What is the solution? Again, solution focused is the idea here. So before you open your mouth and say anything or take any action, you first sit there and think about, okay, what is the positive opposite of this? For example, on one side of the coin is negative, such as, I wish they wouldn't leave the kitchen so dirty. And you can say something about that, and that's okay. Or you could flip to the other side before you mention anything and say, guys, it's so great when you clean up the kitchen, thank you. Because then it gives me room to cook. Now we know that most of us will rise to the challenge and feel better about and more motivated to do better and to act better when there's a positive reinforcement for that. An acknowledgement also of when we do clean up the kitchen. Because usually behavior is a mixed bag. And every once in a while there may not be, but then you can still use this exercise and you can say, I really wish you would be on time. Instead of, why are you always late? Which is shaming and using that why question, which is really a statement. So focusing on, as you go through your day, finding ways where you can do that. In other words, before you talk to someone or before you take action, you figure out what is a solution that I really, really want and why. And here again, you're going to look at your agenda and your intentions, right? And you're going to think about what matters most to me right now and why. And let me talk to them in that regard. And then possibly negotiate some things out if need be. It's really cool because it helps you to not just lash out if you're hurting or you're stressed or you're frustrated. It helps you focus on what this is really about, which is a solution, if that's what you truly want. And if we don't truly want a solution, if we just want to lash out, then what are we doing? So it's a good way to check ourselves and to feel less stressed because it's more positive. This is a great one to use with your kids, by the way, because they will feel your stress and they'll take on your frustration. If they're really young, they'll take that on about themselves as a person. So the way to not shame is to really stay solution focused as much as you can. The other thing I want to mention here is, are you doing this with yourself? Where's your self-talk? On the continuum between 10 being really positive and 0 being awful. I would really want to encourage you to also apply this to yourself. So if you forget to do something like I did yesterday, or you screw something up, how are you looking at that? Are you saying, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe I did that. Or do you say, it's okay, we just need to fix this. How can we fix this? What do I need to do to take care of myself? Why does this keep happening? Where's the problem, and therefore where's the solution? Focusing on what you can change, in other words. Another exercise is called morning mantras. That's before you get out of bed or when you do your morning rituals. Thinking about one thing you want to focus on and make that your mantra throughout your day. A few examples of how you can do this is you would say, today I want to focus on X. Or may I be blank today. May I be calm, peaceful, happy, organized, productive, whatever you want to put in there. And a third way is, may I be guided to places of blank today. So sometimes it's asking for guidance from whatever you believe in. Could even be your higher self. So morning mantras. And some people like to come up with them in the morning. Other people like to come up with them at night. Either way is fine. Do whatever works for you. And I encourage, do whatever you see yourself actually doing. You know, what we don't want to do is set ourselves up for the impossible that we can't achieve, or it just doesn't make sense to do it right now or do that much of it or what have you. You know what feels right and feels manageable, and you can always change it and expand it and make it grow later. It doesn't have to be black and white, awful and horrible, as you often hear me say. So the next one is what I call a card exercise. Now, I've included this in the download, so you can print them out and use them, or feel free to make your own, whatever works for you. But basically, what it means is taking an idea, a value, a belief, or a concept that you want to focus on. Then think about it and write down a few ways you would want to honor it and begin cultivating it in your life. You can choose one per day, one per week, one per month, etc. Just give yourself enough time to work on it, and I would say give it enough time to show up for you. That way, you can do some experiential learning with, which I think is extremely powerful. And that's why you often hear me say, don't rush the process here. Just let it be what it needs to be. And you will feel intuitively when you're like, okay, I got that down. What's next? The next thing will show up in your radar when it's time. So we want to give it, I guess, the time and the effort that it deserves, and to let it teach us what we need to learn and work on and heal and grow from. I want to do the first one and kind of give you an example. So let's say I picked up the card labeled kindness. First, I would think about, what does it mean to me? What does kindness mean? Does it mean doing a kind thing? Does it mean expressing kindness with my words, with my gestures, with my tone, like how I talk to people I love? Do I reach out, ask how people are doing? I mean, kindness can mean a whole bunch of different things. To me, it could also mean biting my tongue, you know? Like, okay, what's my response going to be? Is it necessary and is it kind? Because if not, what am I doing? So think about what the concept of kindness means to you first. Like, what does that look like? The next thing, you would answer the question, how do I want to grow in this area? Where do I struggle? Even if I know better, but I've kind of slipped back into some old behaviors, or I have some real growing to do in an area and I have some anxiety around changing that. You kind of know where it's a struggle. And if not, someone close to you would probably lovingly point that out, right? And number 3, how would it feel to really work on this? Like, what is my why behind? Why do I think this particular concept is coming up now? Why do you think I picked this one? And sometimes you may not know the answer to this third question, and that's okay. So I don't know yet, because guess what? It will be revealed to you, I promise. When you start working on something, the answers come. You know, sometimes the insights come from action. And that's an okay way to do it. Answering the 3 questions and then figuring out how you would like to work on those. Some of the concepts that I included in the exercise were kindness, hope. That's a big one right now, isn't it? Compassion, calm, integrity, patience, emotional maturity, truth, service, and faith. And again, you can use these or add ones of your own that you would like to focus on. I want to add here, make sure you're doing these things to be kind and loving to yourself as well. So if you're looking at any of these principles, I want to encourage you to also ask yourself, do I need to be more kind to myself? Do I need to practice more self-compassion, some more hope for myself around changing or whatever you want, include in that. Okay? So wherever you want to take that exercise is fine. Just follow your heart. Okay, the next one, a very common one you've heard many times, is gratitude. Creating lists of gratitude. We know that they are helpful. We know that even if it's anecdotal evidence, that people feel better if they do a practice of gratitude. You can do this in many different ways, and you may already be doing it. Maybe daily at the end of the day where you write some things down that you're really grateful for. Then some people get up and read them before they start their day, or they start with a brand new list the next morning. We know that gratitude lists help keep you focused on what really matters. Reminds you of what is good and okay and wonderful today. The silver linings that we've been talking a lot about lately. It helps give you proper perspective. Remember what we said before, don't minimize it, don't dramatize it, but call it, but keep it relative. I like gratitude because it doesn't ignore reality. It's not Pollyanna. It's still real and true. It's just the good half of my day, right? It's not me focusing on all the bad things that went down or the scary things that are out there. We're not denying them. We're just not hyper-focusing on them right now. Because focusing on gratitude, you're telling your brain that needs are met, at least for the most part, or some part. So it tells your brain to calm down, calming down that fight or flight response. We know unless there's a bear coming at you, the fight or flight is not a psychological state that we want to stay in. It is not good for our body. It is not good for our brain, and it's horrible for our immune system. So if nothing else, I think being mindful, not beating yourself up, but being mindful of focusing on calming down is a great thing that you can do. You're also going to feel a little less stressed, a little less irritable, and a little easier to be around. Okay? And you're going to feel more hopeful. So, with all of these exercises, my hope is that you find time to journal or talk about, or however you want to get it out, how it feels to work on this, about following your heart and setting intentions. Do this again while being kind and compassionate and understanding with yourself. This is not an easy time. There's real fear, there's real frustration, there's real grief that you're walking through, that we're all walking through. Worry about the future. So I want you to keep the bar very reasonable. Be kind to yourself. Every little bit that we talk about today, every little bit that we can do will be helpful. But it doesn't have to be perfect. And it's okay. Be flexible and be kind to yourself, please. And try to keep the focus on what you can control versus what you cannot. What you can choose today, like even setting the intention, is at least owning the choice. And if you do nothing more than focus your awareness in the next 2 weeks on what you're choosing, oh my gosh, your life will change dramatically. Or get back to where you want it to be. Even if it's for the next 5 minutes. We can't keep looking at the news, reading the news, listening to the news, and focusing on what we can't control and not be stressed out and anxious. I think choosing within the parameters that we have to operate in right now helps us get some healthy power back in a time where we feel so powerless. I know for me, when I can find small opportunities to help neighbors or to help someone, it makes my day and I feel so much better. And I think part of that is because I'm grateful that I can, and then I feel like I could make a choice there and I could be part of the solution instead of part of the big problem. Okay, so today we explored the idea of finding positive ways to focus while you're coping here. We talked about focusing on the beliefs, the values, and the concepts that we want to cultivate more of. And then we walked through some exercises just to kind of help you focus a bit. My hope is that even if this episode helps you to come up with your own creative ideas, that's great. It's really all about what feels right for you, to you, today, for your own why. And please don't be hard on yourself if you have moments or days where you just don't feel like doing it. That's okay. Just don't let yourself slide too far down the slope into isolation, into anxiety, into fear. Try to balance it, okay? Because every 5 minutes you get a new chance. You can change the mood of the day if you want. Try to balance the positive stuff with honoring what you're actually walking through and feeling. We need to honor it, own our feelings, express them, but it doesn't mean we have to also freak out. We can take our power back by setting some wonderful intentions. And what I love about this is, again, every 5 minutes you get a new chance to start over or start again or start out. You can get up tomorrow and do better. You can have a different intention tomorrow than you do today. You can do whatever you want with this. But my encouragement is to own the wonderful power that you really do have. Tapping into your intuition and your heart. I'm watching people every day do wonderful things for people who are in need or hurting because they're following their heart. May we all do that. Thank you for being here with me today. I hope you are safe and I hope you're okay. And remember, we are all in this together. If you're already a Tribe subscriber and signed up for the Tribe News, you will get your bonus download in your newsletter, emailed to you on Tuesday. If not, just go to www.ownitpowercast.com and sign up. And if you found this helpful, please pass along to folks who might benefit as well. And remember, stay well, pay it forward, keep focusing on what you want to intend, and see you next time.
We hope you took away some useful insights and tools you can begin using right away. If you did, please leave a positive review and share on your social media. Because could you imagine if everyone in your life really got it together? Remember, own it now, so you can really own it later.